that got away.
Well, you just saw some of his biggest hits. This is On the Record. I'm Suzanne Alexander, and the man behind those songs, Michael Ray, joining us in studio. So good to have you here.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
So, listen, I'm looking at, Kiss You in the Morning, 2015.
It's crazy.
When you look back, and I go, it's not that it's that long ago, but 8 years ago, who was that guy? Different guy then?
Way different.
The man sitting there?
Yeah.
Did you feel like you were a little naive back then, or did you kind of have a handle on what was about to transpire?
No, I was naive on a lot of stuff, I think. Now looking back, I think then you think you do know. I think
right.
I had a grip on some stuff. I was playing, I was playing every weekend since I was 9, 10 years old, either with my grandfather and then in high school bars, and then
Right.
after high school bars and stuff. So that, I think, the traveling side of it, the show side of it, I did. There was so much behind the scenes stuff I had no idea of, but
the business end.
business side, business side I was learning as I went for sure. But yeah, I think, but in the beginning, some naiveness makes it fun.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, kind of, you don't know what to expect, and you kind of go in.
A little bit of
with
ignorance is bliss, a little bit.
I think so,
Hey, that worked, cool. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You mentioned, playing with your family band. I want to talk about you going back. Take us back to Florida, Eustis, Florida.
Yep.
A kid, little Michael Ray.
Yep.
What was the community like where you lived? What was growing up there like?
It's still just the same now as it was then. What's cool about it is I'm 6th, 7th, 8th generation, somewhere of the same. Not just from Eustis, but like same area.
Wow.
My dad lives in the house that we all grew up. That was my grandpa's that we all grew up. Generations have lived out there hunting, and my great grandfather had a cabin out there. And so I'm well rooted.
Deeply rooted in that area. Wow.
And so big family. So everybody knew everybody. When my grandfather got out of the Army, he was the one that started he loved country music, and so he was the one that started putting instruments in people's hands. And so that community, because they started that band, that community wrapped their arms around them, that family band. And so when I started coming up, it was the kind of this, it was like, oh, there's a new generation of it happening, Yeah. And so they were so supportive. It's small town. It's, blue collar. It's, just a phone call away, type people. And so little Michael growing up there, we grew up country, we grew up hunting, fishing, we grew up playing music, and what was cool about it was just the support of the town, still to this day, and like I said, not much has changed, so we're still doing the same thing as we were back then now. So.
Generation after generation,
Yeah, it's just
right?
new people doing it.
Just new people.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, when you made that leap, here you are playing in a family band, right? Your grandfather puts an instrument in your hand. At what point did you say, okay, I want to see if I can go out and play some gigs on my own?
Yeah, I started playing in my mom and dad got divorced when I was a kid. And now looking back, I really think that my grandpa they had me playing when I was playing a little Kermit the Frog, toy guitar. But I think he saw a moment in life where it was like, okay, here's where music can step in and
so it kind of as a healer?
As a healer also, I think, because when that's going on, and it wasn't it was not easy at all. So you're 8, my little sister, and you're just like, what the heck just happened? So I think you're faced with a fork in the road. Right. And so you can either go one way or go another. So I think my grandpa put music in my hand. Put a guitar in my hand. Kind of kept you out of trouble. And then there's a special relationship between grandparents and grandkids if you're fortunate enough to have that, And so I think in my eyes, I was like, oh, my grandpa thinks I'm cool because I'm doing this, and I loved it, and it was me and him were doing it. So it just grew from there. So I was always playing music with him growing up, and then I'll never forget this. I played on a Wednesday night. There's this Christian singer named Ray Boltz, who was a Christian artist back in the day. He had a song called Feel the Nails and a song called Thank You. It was a Christian song, and I sang Feel the Nails in chapel for my middle school, right? I remember singing it and got a standing ovation from the school. And then my buddies afterwards were like, man, people started coming up afterwards were like, dude, you're actually pretty good at this.
Wow.
And then that was like, well, heck, all right, if they like it, this is outside of my family. If anybody's going to be honest with you, it's a middle schooler. It's a middle school buddy. He'll shoot you straight. And so I remember that moment being like, man, maybe I could do this. And now looking back, there are moments that, now I look back on and I go, anytime I thought, well, I want to do something else, or maybe something always realigned to keep me in music. My grandfather taught us how to splice cable, so I was splicing cable. But then I met a mutual friend of mine, or this guy that we had mutual friends. he goes, hey man, you play guitar? I go, yeah. He goes, I'm going to college. He goes, I need somebody to take my spot teaching guitar lessons at Music and Stuff, this music store in my hometown.
So it was teaching
So I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do that. And again, going back to like everybody supporting you, you know, it's like my family, everybody was like, dude, do that. Whatever keeps you in this lane, you know, don't try to get distracted. But it was every time I look back when I was like, maybe I want to do this, or maybe I'll do this and, you know, do music, but you know, you got a plan B, you know, and then and now I've learned just don't have a plan B. If you don't have a plan B, plan A has to work.
It has to work, right? You don't have anything to fall back on.
You have nothing to fall back on. So it was weird looking back. It was like, I always had those little things that kept me
kind of focused
on music, you know. And so through that time period of, I got that job and working there is when I started meeting musicians from the town, you know, and people from out of town coming to the music store. And I was like, man, okay, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? You know, how do I get into playing bars?
So talking about
how do I do this? And so just slowly started where I started, you know, playing bars. And that all kind of led me to the point of going, man, maybe I should try going back forth to Nashville, you know, or maybe making the move is something I could do, you know.
Wow.
And I think too, having a family that wanted to do this, life just dealt some different cards, whether they had family, you know, kids early, or you know, the small town age story of graduate, get married, get a job, have a kid. That makes it real hard to move to Nashville and chase a dream that's not promised. And so I think having that support system too really helped me.
But these guys are your family right behind you going, do this.
Yeah. And they kind of gave me a cool outlook, or, you know, way of looking at it. It was like, man, you know, you have buddies going to college. Well, your college is Nashville. You know, so if you're going to go be a doctor, you're going to spend 8 years in college, right?
So go get your education.
Go get your education
and
in Nashville.
Pursue your dreams.
And pursue your dreams.
Of course, your grandfather, Amos, and I know that you actually dedicated your album, one of your albums, second album, right, to your grandfather. We'll talk more about that, and I want to talk about you making that jump. Yeah. Living here in Nashville from Florida on your own.
Yeah.
Did you know? Well, stay with us. We're going to find out. This is The Education. Stay with us here. On the Record, Michael Ray. A lot more when we come back. That's Michael Ray and Holy Water. Michael, our guest in studio here on The Record. And the thing I love about that video, and I know it's such a personal song, and the video, having family in there, also Kiss Me in the Morning as well, personal for you. You really like to include family and get back home. It seems to be a touchstone for you, and it really matters to involve your family in these videos and in your career. Yeah,
it takes a village to make a dream come true. You know, it takes a lot of people. And so for me, I always wanted to, one, know that, I think too, because I'm so many generations into this town, and you know, my grandfather had passed away just before Kiss You in the Morning came out, and so really made it even more for me, something that I wanted to make sure that I shined light on those people in that town that made me who I am, but also I wouldn't be here without it. It's always been something that I'm passionate about, of being able to shine the light and also bring something back to my town. You know, it's a all-American town. You know, it's hard workers. It's men and women that are just working hard, trying to raise families and do the right thing. You know, so why wouldn't I want to shine light on that? You know, and I just got so much history there. You know, with the Holy Water video, you know, that church is a church that's still active right now. One of my buddies that I grew up with, his dad is a pastor now, but there's pictures of my great-great-grandfather in that church when he was younger. My family helped build that church in the late 1800s. My dad was a preacher there at one point in time. Like my dad grew up going there. I grew up going there. Yeah. Also, my grandparents did run some moonshine through those woods, so you know that helped the story a little bit. You know, a little drinking and Jesus. You know, we gotta go right to go.
This truly is your life.
It truly is. Yeah. Somehow I ride the line between the two, bouncing back and forth. But and then that area is also right down from where we all grew up, down Ranch Road there, where there's probably 12 families still living out there. You know, 6, 7 of them still all living out there. So the scene where they confront the preacher is actually my cousin Teresa's trailer. Yeah. So her and Donnie allowed us to use their front porch for a little bit. But the truck is my buddy's truck. Like everybody was just
have to be loving the fact that they're part of this too. That's such a great thing.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's cool to see that church that I grew up at get light shined on it,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and you know, it's still active. They do 2 services on Sunday and on Wednesday, and you know, they're raising money to get a new flooring put in it. And
you talked about before the break about making the move here because a lot of your friends, right, and buddies getting off to college, your education in Nashville, and you came here. And I don't think we can talk about your story without talking about the TV show that you did, because it really kind of, like a lot of shows, reality shows and talent contests, really kind of elevate or push and kind of fast forward where you would wind up anyway.
Right.
So speak to that, and working with John Rich on the show. It was on the CW network.
CW network, yeah. It was called The Next. Fame is at your doorstep. Was the whole thing. I didn't grow up with a lot of technology, so like it's still something that I have to put on my brain, you know. So I was raised listening and learning that Loretta Lynn and her husband got in their car and went around. Waylon, then Hank Williams got in a Cadillac and started playing shows. That was my mindset, you know.
That's what you're gonna have to do.
Get a van, start playing bars, you know.
Right.
Social media wasn't that big of, you know, Instagram really just came out. No one was getting found yet on that, but they did have YouTube, you know, so, and fans were posting videos and stuff. So my mindset wasn't on TV or a reality show or, you know, a talent show. It was like, no, I want to get it the old school way. You know,
I'm going to make it.
I'm going to make it. Yeah, I'm going to do this. And then that opportunity came up, man. And again, that moment of my life where it was like I was living in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment with 5 dudes. I was sleeping on the floor in the living room, driving my tour van, trying to figure out how we're going to do this. You know, I had $200 to my name, and I spent $150 for a new tire, you know, for the van. During that time, I'm freaking out. I got nothing to show. People down home think, oh, he moved to Nashville. And in Florida, I'm selling hard tickets, and we're doing a big thing.
Right.
Mississippi, no one knows who the heck Michael Ray is. So you go play and sell 3,000 tickets in Florida and then do a show for 50 people at a, you know,
just a different region.
Some bar, yeah. And so I was like, God, what am I? You know, I can go back home and splice cable and make $28 an hour and play on the weekends, right? So
what do I want to sacrifice?
Yeah, and at that time, phone call. Hey, so there's this TV show that wants you on it. They want a country guy. Fans from my hometown and from Florida had posted live concert videos. So in Nashville, it was already around a little bit of like, who's this Michael Ray dude? Even though I was living up here, I was touring down there and all that. So I'd go down there, make enough money to pay bills and go back and forth. So a little bit of like, who's this dude selling hard tickets? And we had a couple of radio stations down there that were spinning the stuff. So the name was starting to pop off. And so they saw these videos of fans from our shows. And long story short, I've never in my life had something I think fell in my lap that way.
Wow.
We said yes. We were actually on the road when the call came in. They told me the whole concept, which was they take artists from these towns that are like right there, right? So what's stopping them, right?
Step,
what's that next step to why is this person, man or woman a household name in their state, but not everywhere else? So I had just played, I don't think I've ever told anybody this. I had just played the House of Blues headlining, right? Sold out. 2 days later, I get a call from my manager at the time. Hey, man, you're not going to believe this. I said, what's up? He goes, so the Orlando one is We All Play, right?
Right.
Whole concept, let me go back a little bit. The concept of the show, it was John Rich, Joe Jonas, Gloria Estefan, and Nelly were mentors, not so much judges. And so I was on John Rich's team. Well, he comes to my house, pulls his tour bus up to my dad's house, honks the horn, I take him bow fishing, and we do all this, you know, stuff, kind of a day in our life, and then he gets me ready for the episode. First episode's Florida, where we do the concert where people vote who gets to move on. It's at House of Blues. We just sold out. And so I get, and this, again, first episode. So now I get locked in, so I'm for sure going to LA because I won Florida. So I get on TV every week. They air my episodes for 6 weeks. And then instead of getting voted off, they locked you in. Well, then I do the first live taping in LA, which somehow I got about 90 family members and people from Eustis on an airplane to go to LA, which was, that was a whole, it was like bringing the Beverly Hillbillies. They were like, what in the world did we get ourselves into? Get locked into the finals, win the show.
It was meant to be.
It came out of nowhere, and I never got picked up for a second season.
And part of that win, landing a record deal.
Got me a record deal with Atlantic.
which
LA.
of course is then
Warner.
merged into Warner Brothers here in Nashville. And you've been with that label ever since.
Ever since.
To radio, this man's gonna be a big star.
And your relationship and friendship with John Rich, and of course, in writing a song with him for Big and Rich that hit the charts exactly when your debut single hits the charts, which was, I mean, it had to be so surreal for you. Here, you know, you're waiting for something to happen, and boom, not only you're writing for other artists, you're writing for yourself, and you're having these hits go up the charts. So I want to talk more about that. I want to talk also about your brand new EP as well. Stay with us. A lot more here with Michael Ray.
Yeah, whiskey and rain coming down, splash of bourbon in the glass.
Welcome back to On the Record, spending time with Michael Ray here in the studios, of course, Music Row Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. We look at this new EP, 6 songs, Dive Bars and Broken Hearts. I think every artist goes through something that's personal, and of course it gets blown up in the media. You know, I think through music again, you turn to music as a healer, as a way to kind of deal with certain things in your life. And this album, does it tell that story of going through it and getting through the other end of it?
Absolutely. That's why working on it is the last song on the EP. And that's why we laid the songs out that way. I wanted people to kind of go through that journey of the last few years. Going through that, I've discovered who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Going through that, a lot of growth
Yeah.
comes from that. A lot of fixing things that you didn't know was a problem, or that maybe habits, you know, and all this stuff. You grow. You have no other choice but to grow, you know, and so I really wanted people to come through that, and if end it on a song that's just about we're all humans, we're all trying to figure it out.
Everybody's trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm good. We went through some stuff. Everybody's good, but here's where I've been the last 3 years. You know.
Spirits and Demons, one of the songs that really stands out. And I know you enlisted a vocalist out of Canada that a lot of people, if you know country music, she is now the wife of Mitchell Tenpenny, but boy, she's a 2-time female vocalist out of Canada. And we're talking about Megan Patrick. Talk about teaming up with Megan. You guys were buddies. And
I've been a big fan of Megan's for a long time. We've been friends for a while. And man, when her name came up, we were trying to figure out who do we go, I wanted to, because it gets brought around, do you go outside the country? Do you go somewhere else? And I want to be a country artist. This is what I love, And so I was keeping it in the family. And Megan's name popped up, and I was like, yes. Yeah. And her voice, man, is just...
And you guys together just sound so awesome.
Thank you.
And you talk about the message. This is one of the standout line, ain't no miracle at the bottom of the bottle that I've been drinking. And man, it is figuring it out.
Absolutely.
And everybody can relate. Can we play the video?
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and do it. Here it is, Michael Ray.
I thought goodbyes and smoky dives and bar stools would all go together. I thought bourbon on the rocks, bartender pep talks would make it all better. I thought these late nights would work out, blur out that ring on the dresser. Getting over you drunk is the only thing about us lasting forever. Spirits and demons won't bring no healing. Ain't no miracle at the bottom of the bottle I'm drinking. It's just a buzz on a broken heart, barely beating. Gas on a fire, mixing a whiskey and you leaving. Spirits and demons.
I've done the Fridays my friends say is the right way to drown out the voices, but they get louder in the morning, and wasting that red wine feels pointless. And I thought these late nights would work out and blur out the cologne on your sweater.
just a buzz on a broken heart, barely beating. Gas on a fire, mixing a whiskey, and you leaving. Spirits and demons. Getting over you drunk is the only thing about us lasting forever and ever and ever.
Hanging out on the record with Michael Ray and Spirits and Demons. Man, what a song and what a video showing you guys in the studio. Just looks like a great experience. Do you love, I always ask artists this question. You've been doing this now for so many years. Do you love being in the studio, that process of making? Because a lot of artists say, well, the payoff to me is being on stage.
Yeah, that's definitely a payoff because you see it. It's that instant gratification of like, and you get to meet fans. You see it. Now I do. I like being in the studio now. For a long time, because I didn't understand some stuff in the studio, and singing in the studio is so different.
It's totally different.
Especially if you're like trying to sing some hype song and it kind of feels stuffy. Some of the studios kind of feel stuffy. But thank God I had Scott Hendricks who was helping me. He taught me exactly how to sing in a studio and use a microphone. The little tips that help out. What I discovered, and again, man, throughout the last few years of just going, no, this is who I am, and speaking up about things too, not staying quiet about some stuff.
Yeah, that's important. For every new artist watching, very important.
Absolutely, 100%. We started working with Michael Knox, who I'd known for a long time. This was our first time working together, and I say this all the time. I think the reason why we're working, because I get asked, well, why didn't you work with him back then? I wasn't ready. Now I know who Michael Ray is as a man and an artist, and I know what I want. I know I can what I'm bringing to the table. I was searching, trying to figure that out. And so now it was the right time.
You see, I'm just enjoying listening to you, and you seem like you're in such a great place right now and really happy where you are.
Yeah.
Well, love it.
Thank you.
Michael Ray, what a pleasure, man. Thank you for sharing the stories. Thank you for sharing the music, as always.
Thanks for having me.
Love this guy.
I feel like we could have gone another 3 hours. We're going to do a docuseries on this.
I love this guy. Thank you guys for watching. Of course, what a pleasure, man. Michael Ray, and this has been On the Record. We'll see you next time.